Jimmy, our tail of the tape.
You see here the records almost identical. 16 wins, 3 losses, 16-1 for Patricio Pitbull. That one courtesy of the fighter to my left, Joe Warren. He's been through some wars, Patricio.
From L'Auberge du Lac Casino Resort, Bellator Fighting Championships on MTV2 now present 3 5-minute rounds, the Season 4 Bellator Featherweight Tournament Championship. Sponsored by Champs We Know Game. See how at facebook.com/champsports. And now introducing first the red corner. At 5'7", weighing in at 145 pounds even as a professional. 16 victories, 3 defeats from Cincinnati, Ohio, Daniel Straus. And across the cage is adversary fighting out of the blue corner. At 5'5", he weighed in at 145 3/4 pounds. Near perfect as a professional, 16 wins, just 1 defeat from Natal, Brazil. Introducing Patricio Pitbull. And the third man inside the cage, referee Jason Herzog.
Fighters gone over the rules in the back. There are no final questions from you, Blue. No final questions from you, Red. Touch gloves, come out ready to fight.
Sitting cage side is Daniel Straus's mom, a nervous look on Marty's face. This Bellator Tournament Championship bout is under the unified rules of MMA. It is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Elbows to the head are allowed, both standing and on the ground.
First round, fight, you ready?
No kicking or kneeing the head of a grounded opponent. The bell in round number 1.
It's hard to believe when you look at them that they're even in the same weight class. Straus is just huge.
He's just a taller athlete, a little bigger bone structure.
The American Daniel Straus is in the white trunks with that beautiful throw. The Brazilian Patricio Pitbull is in the black trunks. $100,000 and a title fight versus Bellator's reigning featherweight world champion Joe Warren is what the winner of this bout will receive. And
Good luck.
Joe Warren is joining us live on commentary for this fight.
Now, if you see here, Straus, you know, that second effort on the throw, went for a takedown, didn't get it, and then shifted right to a throw. He doesn't give up. He keeps pressing, keeps pushing, but right now it's Pitbull has him up against the fence.
But you watch Pitbull hit his back and pop right back up into a wrestling position. You can see he's been working on his wrestling line. Daniels needs to put that extra strength, that weight onto him today and hurt him.
Joe, Daniel Straus, outside of fighting, is really your polar opposite. He always talks about, I don't feel like I'm ready, I don't feel like my cardio is good enough, you know, I could get knocked out in 15 seconds. He is always downplaying his accomplishments. It's almost as though he gets ready the opposite of what you do. Instead of saying I'm the baddest man on the planet, he's almost saying, you know, I'm the worst fighter on the planet.
Well, you know, these are new wins for him. You know, he's this new being in the spotlight. I'm used to that. I'm excited, ready for that, you know. Sometimes I talk a lot of trash because I need it. Push harder, baby.
Daniel Straus started his pro MMA career 0-1 and then was 1-2. Since then, he has won 15 of 16 fights, including a dozen straight, coming into this featherweight tournament championship.
Now here's where Pitbull's hard to deal with. Up against the fence, he's shorter, he's stockier, he's smaller. You're a Greco-Roman wrestler. It's very hard to get inside on a guy like that who's short and powerful.
Well, yeah, if you don't get underneath his hips. You know, right now Daniel's standing straight up and down and overhooking him. You know, and this is exactly what Pitbull wants, to slow this fight down and try to get control.
Patricio Pitbull enters this bout 16-1. His lone loss occurred last June via split decision versus Joe Warren in Bellator's Season 2 Featherweight Tournament Championship. This is the Featherweight Tournament Championship of Season number 4. Daniel Straus versus Patricio Pitbull. Joe, if you recall in our fighter meeting last June, you told Jimmy and myself, if I'm going to beat Patricio Pitbull, I'm probably going to win by decision. Daniel Straus told us the exact same thing coming into this fight. Realist,
you know what I mean? We're both warriors. You got to understand, 2 guys going in that ring at the level we're at, you know, understanding that one guy's not going to lose, so sometimes it's going to have to be a decision.
9 of his 16 career wins for Daniel Straus coming by way of decision, and he is very proud of that. He loves being a grinder. He's the proudest non-finisher I've ever met in this sport. He says there is something about dominating an opponent for the distance of a fight.
Now, I have been in Patricio's guillotine. It is fast, and he is strong. No room once you're underneath that guy's armpit, but not able to get it.
No worries. worries for Daniel Straus, and now he gets the Brazilians back now to a waist cinch.
And Pitbull pops right back up. Joe, how hard is that to take a guy down and he just pops right back to his feet? It's a big waste of energy.
Well, the way he did it was right. He attacked the body instead of trying to waste with the upper body, so he didn't use a lot of energy to get to his back. But once again, Pitbull shows his wrestling skills, pops right back to his feet, and pretty much negates that takedown.
Patricio Pitbull so determined to get through Daniel Straus, but really, Joe, he is looking to get back to you.
He's looking for that second round.
Since the quarterfinal round, his fight versus Georgi Karahani, and Joe, he has been talking about a rematch with you for your title.
Yeah, I'm honored to give him that opportunity if he wins this fight. You know, it'll be a great fight for Bellator and also for me. I'm excited to show my improvements with him.
Referee Jason Herzog letting the action flow.
Now, one thing about facing a better wrestler, a guy with better takedowns, it tends to shut strikers down. They don't want to throw because they don't want to commit with their hips and get taken down. You see Pitbull not really throwing a whole lot out here in the center.
Good body shot there by Daniel, real good.
Oh, good leg kick by Pitbull.
Both guys very cautious with the strikes. A little bit of a leaping left hook there.
Straus listed at 5'7" to Patricio Pitbull's 5'5", but two really different body types. He looks so much bigger than just a 2-inch height advantage in the cage.
And this is what Patricio wants right here. He wants to keep him at his distance, let him move him, create angles, and land those punches in his chin. You have him on his knees, hurting.
He wants him in the center of the cage the entire time. Good wrist control by Straus.
Nicely done by Straus, back to his feet. Left hand by Daniel Straus, just misses the mark. Two men going full speed.
Oh, good knee.
Oh, I love this shit.
Heading into round number 2 of this Bellator Featherweight Tournament Championship with Jimmy Smith and Bellator's reigning featherweight world champion Joe Warren. I'm Sean Wheelock. The winner claims $100,000 and a title shot versus Joe Warren later this year. Jimmy, on your scorecard.
I got to go with Pitbull on that 10-9, an extremely close round. I think he landed a couple more strikes, and striking damage is the #1 criteria in the fight. I got to go with Pitbull, but not by a whole lot.
And Joe, on your scorecard.
Also, Patricio Pitbull gets that win by me. He was more precise, and he finished the round the aggressor.
But Straus did get a couple takedowns. Wasn't able to utilize them, wasn't able to use them very effectively, but got a couple takedowns. It depends on how the judges see it.
Daniel Straus is in the white trunks. Patricio Pitbull is in the black trunks.
Pitbull with the takedown, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold Straus down.
Straus did tell us, Jimmy, that he would be comfortable fighting off of his back, but when do you ever see Daniel Straus on his back?
That is the worst place to be against Pitbull. You learned that when he was on top of you in that first round of that fight. He had great control and good ground and pound.
Yeah, I won, Saved by the Bell on that one, but thank God the bell was there. But he's got his back right now. This is a great position for him. He needs to keep that pressure on Daniel right now.
When I rolled with Pitbull, he is so
You got him in the face. You got him in the face. You got him in the face. You got him in the face.
Time called by referee Jason Herzog.
Herzog saying that knee was to the face. I thought it was to the body. We have to get another look at that, maybe.
You have a little bit of time. You need a break. Okay, it was an accident. Okay.
Straus saying he needs
a little time to recover. You can't be in your corner.
Let's see if we get another look at it. Up against the fence. Oh, that looked directly to the body to me. I did not see any of that hitting him in the face. It looked like it was to the gut.
You ready?
Now again, we are under the unified rules of MMA. So knees to the body of a grounded opponent are legal. Knees to the head of a grounded opponent are illegal.
That's a bad call by Jason Herzog. That was straight to the ribs.
Look at Pitbull's face. Smiling, he's moving. You can see the flow. At this point in a fight, if you see a boxer moving like that, you better get your hands on him as quick as possible.
Yeah, and he's got good confidence. You see he's moving forward. I think he's having a lot more confidence in his striking and his ability to stop Straus's takedown.
Yeah, and I see, they say the best champion is the best actor, but I don't see that right now in Daniel.
TNA Impact is now called Impact Wrestling. This week, Kurt Angle goes one-on-one with Rob Van Dam for the first time ever on Impact. And will Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff succeed in eliminating the X Division once and for all? Impact Wrestling, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Spike.
Hope we see some flying elbows today in honor of Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, man. Rest in peace.
Sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 58. His feud when I was a kid with George the Animal Steel was one of the greatest in the history of pro wrestling.
Now this feud right here that we're seeing here is going Pitbull's way. Very aggressive. I think he's got that swagger. He's got that confidence. I think.
Yeah, but look at Daniel, man. Don't count this man out. He's on his toes. His head's moving. His hands are up.
Oh, he's still very much in it. As far as the confidence, momentum, I gotta go.
But you
right
see
now.
it. You see it. I see the flow right now, like you were talking about. He's moving. His body's flowing. That's a scary position to be standing in front of a guy like that.
Patricio Pitbull, through his Portuguese interpreter, told us that he felt that his semifinal round opponent, Wilson Hayes, was much stronger than Daniel Straus. And he also said, if Straus is stronger than Hayes, well, I guess I'm in big trouble.
Well, Wilson, a really strong dude, but strong in a jiu-jitsu kind of way. Great positioning, really able to hold you, but didn't have that wrestling background like Daniel Straus. But you see Straus on the outside. I think he wants to press and get close and stuff these punches.
He's playing his game. Daniel's playing Pitbull's game, standing out there. He needs to put that aggression on him. You know, if Pitbull's saying that about the power, he's in for a big, rough time. July coming.
I think Straus's best bet is like Nazareno Malagari. He was always in Malagari's face, always pushing forward, always keeping him against the fence. Pitbull is going to win this fight, in my opinion, in the center of the cage. That's where he's best.
He needs to push the pace, but, you know, he's giving him a little too much respect.
Yeah, I certainly agree.
It's because we're, again, about the power of Pitbull's hands. You know, they're called heavy hands for a reason.
Body lock by Straus.
Time. Right here.
Patricio Pitbull complaining of a low blow there. Time called again by referee Jason
He just came straight up through the center. I think his foot caught him in the cup.
Keep it clean, okay?
Accidents, you know.
Yeah? All right, guys, back up.
Good show of sportsmanship from both fighters. Time in immediately.
Well, neither one of these guys are dirty fighters. They have a lot of respect for one another. They're just, you know, you're throwing, that's what happens.
See, just straight left right there. You gotta watch out still for Danny. He needs to push that pace.
You see he's trying to counterpunch. He's trying to catch Pitbull coming in.
It's because, you know, you watch Pitbull and you scout him, he's a counterpuncher. So you think you counterpuncher against him. You need to put that aggression in. Wrestling.
Head kick there by Straus did not find the mark.
Now, speaking of low blows, his brother Patricio, a victim of 3 of those last week.
Big swing and a miss by Pitbull.
That's Michael Chandler.
He needs to get his hands on Pitbull.
Good knee to the body, then the counter on the single leg by Pitbull. Great. Oh, beautiful hip toss by Straus.
Wins that one, too.
Inside the cage, we go to the third and final
Our
round.
Bellator replay is sponsored by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You see here the end of that round, Pitbull using his wrestling and a great counter throw, almost judo, stepping across. But Pitbull, once again, right back to his feet. Straus has been able to get a couple throws, but never able to hold Pitbull down.
Our third and final round of this featherweight tournament championship. Indeed, the final round of Bellator Season 4 featherweight tournament. Daniel Straus versus Patricio Pitbull. Jimmy on your scorecard.
I have it 2-0 Patricio Pitbull. Both rounds very close, but I've given them both to Pitbull.
And Joe Warren on your unofficial scorecard.
Also the same, 10-9, 10-9.
That is the voice of Joe Warren, the self-proclaimed baddest man on the planet, Bellator's reigning featherweight world champion. He will fight the winner of this bout later this year. Daniel Straus is in the white trunks, Patricio Pitbull is in the black trunks, and the winner of this fight not only earns a title shot versus Joe Warren, they also earn $100,000.
Now, we both talked about it in between rounds, Joe. Straus has a wrestler's background, but he's playing a striker's game right now, kind of playing on the outside, not getting in Patricio Pitbull's face like we saw him do in previous fights.
Well, actually, this is the third round also of a $100,000 fight. You better, you know, do what you got to do, pull up your shorts and get after this because, you know, you're not winning this fight standing outside right now.
Can't take any punches home with you.
Or any money.
Oh, good left hand by Patricio.
He was on the counter after this step in right by Straus.
You see Straus trying to jump in, lunge in, rather than press in, and that's how Patricio's able to catch him. He's lunging, he's not pressing.
See what happens when a warrior like me gets back in there.
Flurry of punches there by Patricio Pitbull. Well defended, though, well covered by Daniel Straus.
Good right hand.
Beautiful right hand. Best punch of this round.
Straus finally getting inside, finally pressing.
But Pitbull's doing a really good job keep putting his feet against that cage and pulling the underhook up.
Are you surprised by his improvements in his wrestling game since he fought you for Patricio Pitbull?
No, I'm definitely not. He's a warrior, professional fighter. I knew that what he would do is, you know, put his whole camp into wrestling, focus everything he has in wrestling, and you can see that in those last few fights. He's had end-around takedowns every single round.
He's been very efficient, not wasting a lot of time trying to take Straus down in the middle of the cage. It's been toward the fence, toward the end of rounds. Very efficient.
Straus back to his feet. Good knee by Patricio Pitbull.
You see Straus getting the clinch behind Pitbull's head.
Well, you're seeing a game planner, you know, a fighter that's a game plan fighter like Pitbull against Daniel, similar to me, which throws it out at the win and see what happens.
Straus temporarily on his bicycle.
Well, you didn't plan to take a beating in those first rounds?
Yeah, I'm just doing that to gain some more fans on MTV2 here, you know, so I can get some people that back me up here.
I bet you went after the first round of that Joe Soto fight and went, everything's going exactly the way I wanted it to.
Exactly. That's not the plan, but, you know, things happen out there.
And Pitbull, good bounce on his feet, hands high.
And he's moving, you know, Daniel's moving backwards. He's got to push this pace now. He's not no choice. There's a minute and 40 seconds left.
Nice left hand by Straus.
Now Pitbull tapping his chin, saying, come on. Trying to lure him in. You know he has a counter right waiting.
This is the game plan, but he's got to set up.
Straus is such a mellow, easygoing personality, but I think that really bothered him. Seemed as though he was upset by the showboating there from Patricio Pitbull.
But suckered him right into a takedown. I think that was his plan. Get him to move forward, shoot for a takedown of his own. If he can get one with a minute left, and maybe ice this round, but good defense by Straus.
Yep, it was a good game plan. I mean, he once again into a high single and tried to do a sit back or a dump. Wasn't successful, but still in the judge's eyes, it was a takedown attempt.
Into the 15th and final minute of this featherweight tournament championship. Who will prevail, Daniel Straus or Patricio Pitbull? Who will get that title shot versus Joe Warren later this year?
Straus has to really turn it up in order to win this fight.
Yep, I agree, definitely.
Nice 1-2 by Straus. Good knee, and then the push off by Pitbull. Straus missing over the top.
A good head movement by Pitbull. He's dodging that first strike.
More showboating from Patricio Pitbull, and that's really out of character for him.
It is. I think he has a plan. He's not a guy who typically showboats. He's trying to draw Straus in to either counter right or get that takedown that he likes to get at the end of the round.
Flying knee from Patricio Pitbull.
You see the balance. He threw the flying knee and then landed on his feet. Incredible balance by the Brazilian.
Closing seconds of this fight. Straus looking for a suplex, and he gets it. The bell, the end of a very entertaining fight.
And tried to finish at the end, but Pitbull, that balance, always on top. Excellent job.
When we return, we will learn the winner. It will be Daniel Straus or Patricio Pitbull. The championship bout of Bellator's featherweight tournament has gone the distance. Daniel Straus versus Patricio Pitbull. Jimmy, on your scorecard.
30-27, Patricio Pitbull. I gave him every round. Close rounds. Let's see if the judges agree.
And Joe Warren on your scorecard.
Same as Jimmy again. I think Pitbull does another great performance. You know, I think he wins this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your judges' scorecards. Judge Jordan Bass scores at 29-28, while judges Joe Ancona and Mark LeBlanc both see the fight 30-27. All for the winner by unanimous decision now. The Season 4 Bellator Featherweight Tournament Champion, Patricio Pitbull.
Last year, he was the runner-up in Bellator's featherweight tournament. This year, he is the champion of Bellator's featherweight tournament. Patricio Pitbull, just 23 years old, now 17-1 in his MMA career.
With your Season 4 featherweight tournament winner, Patricio Pitbull. Hard fight from beginning to end. That's what you expected? Is that what you trained for? What was going through his mind in that third round?
Uma luta difícil do começo ao fim, era isso que você estava esperando? E o que era que estava passando na sua cabeça durante a luta?
Vinha muita coisa na minha cabeça, mas a principal coisa que me vinha era a vitória e poder lutar pelo cinturão uma vez na minha vida.
There were lots of things going on in my mind, but the primary thing was the victory and have the shot at the belt for the first time in my life.
Now, how motivated is he? How much does he think about Joe Warren and that gold?
Quão motivado você está para Joe Warren e pegar o cinturão dele?
Na minha cabeça só vem uma frase: eu vou ser campeão, então eu vou tomar o cinturão dele.
There is only one thing in my mind. I'm going to be a champion. I'm going to take his belt.
All right, Joe Warren, of course, the champion, and Bjorn Rebney. Bjorn, we knew how good Patricio was, but he has been like a pit bull this entire tournament, one goal in mind.
Yeah, spectacular. Great performance, spectacular wins. Next up, Joe Warren. Great work.
Speaking of Joe Warren, I happen to have him right here, self-proclaimed baddest man on the planet. Joe, a great performance against a guy with a similar style as you. What are you looking forward to in that fight? They're playing on the screen the fight you had with Pitbull. You remember those punches?
Oh, I definitely remember. Heavy hands. I'm a different fighter now. I'm happy to give him a rematch and a second loss on his record.
Patricio, you know how Joe Warren loves to talk, but he has to get in the cage with you and back it up.
Mas ele tem que entrar na grade com você e mostrar isso.
Eu só tenho uma coisa a dizer a você: I gonna champion.
I only have one thing to tell you. I'm going to be a champion.
These guys are going to be fighting for the belt. Give them a hand. Joe Warren and Patricio Pitbull.